Well, well, well. Look who it is. Look who's come crawling back. It's Crypto Weekly. You like that? I changed daily to weekly. It's a 3-year-old joke at this point, but it never ceases. Let's hear your best Crypto Monthly jokes down below. Anyway, I love bear markets, some interesting opportunities, but I'd be okay with never seeing one again.
Bye.
How likely is that, though? Very hard to say. Now, I've drawn a line, which I'm going to show you now. Spoilers. Let's remove those. I call it the bull/bear line. Creative, I know. Priced in at roughly $9,000. Pretty safely assume short to midterm is pretty bullish. Anything below short to midterm is pretty bearish. We are so close to it. Roughly the third or fourth time it's truly been tested as a support level. If this breaks, there doesn't look like much to support it until the low 7,000s, maybe the mid 7,000s. How is this possible? How are we discussing this? Believe me, I'm as angry as you are. Why are we flip-flopping in and out of bear markets? What is the narrative this time, and who is to blame? Because there is always someone we can blame, whether it's accurate or not. Right now, it's a virus. Might seem like old news. I'm sick of hearing about it, but it might just be the very beginning of all the news we're about to hear about it. This whole theory of blaming a virus for Bitcoin's troubles mainly stems from this. US stocks plunge as coronavirus crisis spreads. Say that very quickly. Coronavirus crisis. That's not too hard. As outbreak spreads outside China, spiking in Italy and South Korea, investors are growing increasingly concerned about a global economic slowdown. How and why should this narrative affect Bitcoin in any way? First, let's hear from Tim Draper, famous venture capitalist and Bitcoin tie wearer. Some have noted that his eyebrow may foreshadow Bitcoin's charts, but let's hear what he actually has to say about the situation.
I have been out of the market for about 6 months. It felt pretty lofty for me, and I kind of moved most of my stuff to crypto and Bitcoin. I think that's kind of a safe haven now, and I think this correction, it may end up being more than that, but I think we're in for a kind of an interesting ride.
Yeah, Tim, I want to go back to the point you just made about shifting more of your investments to Bitcoin. I mean, earlier this month we saw the price break above 10,000. We're currently trading below that again right now. There's been a lot of talk about this flight to safety move, this idea of digital gold. How do you see it, and where do you see the price going from here?
Well, I'm still holding to my prediction. I think Bitcoin in 2022 or at the beginning of 2023 will hit 250,000. And that is a big move from where it is here. And I think that the reason there is that Bitcoin will be the currency of choice. I mean, right now you have this choice, and Bitcoin's not as easy to move around, but eventually it will be. And then you'll have a choice, and you'll say, hey, do I want to pay the banks 2.5% to 4% every time I swipe my credit card, or do I want a currency that's frictionless, open, transparent, global, and not tied to any political force? I mean, at some point, people are going to make that switch, and Bitcoin is going to be the big winner.
Fair. I have to agree with what he's saying so far. Except for when you need fraud protection, except for when you have to pay capital gains tax. But this, I presume, is assuming that Bitcoin is so valuable already, there really aren't any gains to report, or you've held over a year and don't actually have to pay any tax. And in those situations, 100% agree.
Well, speaking of that, Tim, Buffett was asked about crypto at large about this morning on Squawk by our Becky Quick. Here's what he said.
Cryptocurrencies basically have no value, and they don't produce anything. So you can look at your little ledger item for the next 20 years, and it says you've got X of this cryptocurrency or that. It doesn't reproduce. It doesn't deliver. It can't mail you a check. It can't do anything. And what you
I need to hear that again.
It doesn't reproduce. It doesn't deliver. It can't mail you a check. It can't do anything.
I'll never own any crypto. I assume that's what you mean by tension.
That is hilarious. He owns 50% of his holdings are banks and insurance companies. They are not going to do well in this new decentralized economy. Of course he's not going to like it. He sees a huge threat to his holdings. His holdings are more than 50% in banks and insurance companies.
It's interesting that there are multiple reasons for different people why Bitcoin is valuable to them. And I think that's pretty cool. The no check thing being posted to me, that's a little bit of a concern. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that. But anyway, I've recently talked about why I think Bitcoin is an amazing asset. And by recently, I mean the last video. So, in my opinion, on paper, Bitcoin is the best investment in the world. Convenient, uncorrelated. It is better than gold, in my opinion. But I think sometimes it's appropriate for a little bit of a reality check.
How dare you!
It isn't quite that safe haven asset yet. How many people are using Bitcoin at the moment? Number of blockchain wallet users worldwide from third quarter 2016 to fourth quarter 2019. Nice growth curve, currently estimated to be around 45 million wallets. That's not a lot. So I applaud the efforts of people like Tim Draper, who are somewhat educated about Bitcoin, who can explain it quite well, going onto these news networks and explaining it and educating normies. Point is, we still have a lot of work to do to get people to understand this. And if you don't believe me, case in point, Bitcoin's currently sluggish. At the same time, the gold market is rallying. So this is a bad thing, but also a good thing. Bad in the sense that if the stock market fears continue, people are worried about a global economic slowdown, it isn't having a positive impact on crypto. Quite the opposite, actually. I don't think there's been a situation where a big market crash has ever definitively been good for crypto. Right now isn't likely to be any different. I hope I'm wrong, but yeah. But at the same time, it's also good. It's good for me, it's good for you personally, because what this means is we are still here early. Despite Bitcoin being out for nearly 10 years now, it is still very, very early. There are still not that many people involved. Therefore, a 250k Bitcoin, as Tim Draper predicts, in a few years, but more importantly, when people get educated about it, could very well be easily possible. And that's it from me. Thanks for watching.